is music?
Welcome back to Afrodance School. This is perspective. We pause the movement, we go behind the scene. Today I am here with Izzy. We are getting to know her, we are getting to understand her creativity, and getting to get all the information we can get today. It is not about right or wrong, it's about point of view, unique point of view. Let's get into it. Good to see you.
Yes. Let's get started.
How did you first get introduced to Afro dance? What drew you into it in the beginning? And at the time when you started it, what was your understanding of African dance?
So the time I got introduced to African dance was when I moved to Nigeria. So I was born in Brooklyn, but then my family relocated to Edo State, Benin City specifically, in Nigeria when I was around 3. At that time, obviously, the kind of music or like dance moves that I would have known in my young brain would be more so from the American side. But when I went into boarding school at the age of 4, we had like activities called socials, which are like parties. We had like morning and night devotion where we would obviously do praise and worship, but then we turn that into like a musical performance and then you dance as well. So even in boarding school, you get to interact with a lot of different people from all walks of life. And one thing we normally used to do is bring into school whatever entertainment we ingest during our extension, which is like our vacation. And that would include like movies, whatever dance moves we saw in like music videos. So those are things we would bring into the school. We use it to compete. We use it to entertain ourselves. We'll use it during like inter-house sports to compete like for crews against crews. So that was my first introduction to movement to African music. At that time, it wasn't called like Afrodance. Maybe it did have a name, but I was too young to know what label it was put on because our street dances are basically like social dances. And at that age, I was too young to be in the streets and I was too young to be in the club. So all I know is that whatever was happening at NIS, these are the moves that I know to these African songs. What drew me to it was more so like the social aspect of it. Dance has always been a tool that I use to navigate whatever new environments that I found myself in. Because when I was young, I traveled a lot. So it was more so of a social tool, and that's what drew me to it initially. This is a way I can make a stamp or make a name for myself on campus. This is something that comes naturally to me. I absolutely love music and my interpretation of music is movement. So that's kind of how I got introduced.
The initial interview, we talked about Afrofusion, so I want to bring it back into that initial conversation because you mentioned Western styles
Yeah,
mixing into
yeah.
Afro. Others have perceptions of it differently. A bunch of Afro dancers believe that Afro in itself is already mixed, right? So when you say Afrofusion, what does that mean to you? How did you come about that definition? And is this something you were taught or something you're developing into your career as a persona?
Based off of the last conversation that we had, I've come to understand Afrofusion as meaning two things: a fusion of African dance styles together, more than one African dance styles together, or also a fusion of an African dance style or African dance styles with Western contemporary styles. That's how I understand it. I believe that the music and the dance are tied together. That's my understanding of it. And I know people have contrary beliefs to that. But if you listen to African pop music, if you listen to just Nigerian pop music, it is a fusion of a lot of different styles. If you go back to Konto music, for example, it's a fusion of dance hall with Nigerian elements. If you listen to pop music right now, like there was the EDM Nigerian fusion in our sound. So for me, I think that even in our movements, at least how I choreograph is I am led by the music And if the music have different elements, I'll give a good example of Tyler Jump. That song, to me, how I hear it is there's amapiano elements, there's dance hall elements, and there's a hip hop element. So if I were to create a choreography and I fuse movements from those three styles, that's a fusion choreography. But my base is always going to be Afro because in the way I interpret movement and the way that I hear music is from an African approach. That's how I understand Afrofusion. If I'm going to different regions, because different countries have very different cultural movements and social movements. And if I want to blend those styles together, I think it is a fusion of styles. Because you can't say the same way South African dances is the same way Nigerian dances. You can't say the social dances from Angola is the same flavor as Cote d'Ivoire. If I now take those two moves, I put them together, and I now go to, uh, um, let's say Jamaica, take a dance hall move and put it into that. What am I doing? I'm fusing. That's my understanding. Yeah.
So I want you to go a bit deeper into
Mhm.
that. Let's go beyond that a bit.
Mhm.
You mentioned music being basically what start up the choreography
For me.
for you.
Mhm.
And hearing these elements
Mhm.
are what dictate what you're gonna fuse.
Can influence, yes, what I fuse. Mhm.
Okay. Are you saying that as dancers we need to also understand music? Do you think that it kind of shapes us as creatives?
For me, music is strongly tied to how I move. Like literally, I say choreography is the visual representation of music. However, if a dancer, I'm not saying that a dancer is limited to the music that they dance to, but I think everything is music. Sound is music. No sound is music. Is music. Everything is music. This is dance. This sound here, this movement is also sound. This is what music and dance feels like to me.
What role do you feel like culture plays in how we approach Afrodance?
So in culture, do you mean that, okay, as a Nigerian or as a Edo woman,
Mm-hmm.
how does that affect how I approach
Mm-hmm.
dance?
I like that you asked it in that way because as a Nigerian woman, there might be a difference in how you
Okay.
approach Afrodance, and there might be a difference in how you approach it as a Edo woman, right?
Really?
Which
Okay.
brings me to how you feel like traditions
Mm-hmm.
also affect the way when, let's say, you learn something new, how do you navigate that?
Mm.
Edo would be more traditional.
Yeah.
Nigerian will be more
Social.
social.
Yeah. Well, because I wouldn't say I'm someone who's trained in a lot of traditional styles. So as an Edo woman, I don't think I approach from a traditional aspect. That's something I'm definitely open to exploring and learning more about. And I think even with the phase that I'm taking in my career, storytelling, um, we might have to go back deeper into the roots. But I would say the way I approach dance will be more from a social level. Because majority of the ways I'm seeing dance is from social media, from parties, from gatherings of the youth. But I think it's in its own magic as well. I would say the culture of a dancer is more so influenced by my experience as a student. And that's how I approach African dance. Because as someone who started off in the hip hop commercial industry in America, when I came into the African scene, although at that time there was not really much of a scene, like there was no industry. Even now, we're still building an industry. I would say that the way I approached African dance was more so from a space of freedom because in the commercial market, I had captains, I had coaches, I had rules. Whereas, like, if you're not a captain or if you're not a coach, you can't choreograph. If you are competing at MAPTA or UDA for jazz, you can't infuse African movements. It's whatever is given to you, you perform. Individuality is stripped away. You need to look like a unit of 20 40, 10, 5 dancers within this piece. So within Afro, it was kind of like, oh my God, a playground I can explore. So I think for me, I never limited myself, where it's just like this experience of box yourself in, stay uniformed, be under this constraint. With Afro, I was able to burst free, which is why I think I like to explore a lot of different things. Because even from my background, jazz, modern, ballet, palms, voguing, like I've danced in stripper heels that are like 8 inches, whipping my hair back and forth. Why would I come to such a vibrant continent of movement and say I'm only going to pick one? So that's the culture that I use to approach African movement.
So, with what you just said, being that in the commercial world, you had to have coaches and mentors, and you had to look like someone that's standing next to you, dancing right next to you. And then Afro, there's more freedom where you can expand yourself. Would you say that where you learn dance from really shapes how you proceed in your career?
It can. It can. Like obviously nature, nurture, but it can. For me, in the beginning of my career, because I couldn't travel a lot, I had to learn through the cell phone. I had to learn through a screen. I had to pick pieces here and there. So a lot of my choreography in the beginning was mostly, I would say like 85% hip hop and then a sprinkle of like African moves that like either naturally came to me from my time that I lived in Nigeria or something that I learned online. Is like, oh, let's just sprinkle one as also inside there. Bam. It's to an African song, but it's like I'm doing hip hop. But I allowed myself the time to actually learn because I don't want to go and start executing movements in choreography when I don't even understand. Even though I allow myself that space, but still, like, you need time to grow, you need time to expose yourself to a lot of different things. Which is why when I was able to afford to start traveling, I would go directly to these countries. I end up spending a month in South Africa learning from King Tom, and he's teaching me movement from Spujwa. He's bringing in an instructor to teach Pansula, bringing another instructor to teach Ngom. But even in that, like learning that, and it's not like it was like there were some sessions that were one-on-one. There are some sessions where I'm learning in a group and I'm seeing, oh, I'm seeing it on this body, I'm seeing it on this body. I don't understand it on this body, but I understand that move on this body. It's like, and then even like, okay, if he wants to take me to the townships, I can go. I can see where this movement comes from. If I want to go to a party, I can see how they party and I can absorb that, because we are also creating platforms for when our peers back home are able to travel. And there's a lot of rich culture that needs to be spread. We are the foot soldiers. That's how I see it. And even as we teach, we're always telling people, hey, this is my interpretation. However, if you want deeper, richer knowledge, go back to our peers on the continent. So I think there's need for both sides. I think there's need for us in the diaspora where we take what, and I think Nigerians are really good at doing this. We take an element that has like, okay, something's picking up over here. Like, let's say I'm a piano. My piano is picking up. We take it. We now Ninja it. We blow it to the global world. That's basically what we are. We take from home. We understand it to some degree, but then we just the American perspective or the European perspective or like the Indian whatever it may be. And then we bring in more foot soldiers. So now that's why camps are able to do 150 people, 200 people, because the foot soldiers have gone and said, hey, there's something going on over here on the continent. Come through. There's a platform now. Fellas from the continent, come through and come show them the sauce. We need each other. That's how I see it.
So, where do you feel people get it right when it comes to Afrofusion?
From my definition, then that means that a lot of hip hop choreographers now are technically Afrofusion choreographers. But because there's this kind of like dance hall-ish, hip hop-ish, Afro-ish kind of blend that I'm seeing a lot of hip hop commercial choreographers do
Ish.
ish, right? Where it's like it's very like wavy, but it's the African music. So you're talking like your whizzes, your
Like
tens.
the nuance is there. Some form of essence is there, but not fully.
It's like there's this like and I don't want this to sound shady because like I love that people are experiencing it, but I feel like I see this thing like there's a certain way like when they start doing Afro moves, it turns into this animalistic like and there's like a specific like
Energy.
there's a specific like energy. So I'm like, okay, where I would say maybe they do it right is that they're exploring it. But I also wish that the exploration expands past the movement from the 2019s. Because I feel like people are still doing variations of Guara Guara. People are still doing variations of Shaku Shaku. People are still doing variations of like leg work to some degree. And there's nothing wrong with going back to basics. Because I'm somewhere I'm just like, yo, just because we're on this step now doesn't mean that Azonto has lost its value. But I would say maybe exploring more where it's not like the same 2, 3 moves that I see you do variations of in your choreography because you're dancing to an African artist song, right? And then just because you're dancing to an African artist song doesn't mean you have to do African movements
Hello.
also. But that's a conversation for another time. So I wouldn't be the judge on who's doing it right or doing it wrong. I just love that, people are getting exposed to it. And I think that, obviously we also need to document our story and we need to tell our story. So that's why platforms like this, platforms like Oyo Fair, like Be Africa Camp, like the camps out there. Hopefully we start to build into conferences where people can actually just sit down and network and talk and have conversations. Those are important. So even if it gets as far as Korea or as far as like Antarctica, and the people teaching it no longer look like us, at least there is a place that people can go reference and be like, okay, these are the sources, these are the faces, these are the different pockets of cultural communities in these different countries around the world. So yeah, spread, but also expands your
Language.
vocabulary.
That part. Because the ish, I've seen it myself and I've questioned it. Like, in the moment where Afro dance, African music is breaking through doors, I'm seeing it. I'm sitting back and I'm like, one day we're over here, one day we're on this channel, one day we're breaking through this door. Beautiful. The work is happening. No one can miss it.
Mm.
If the work is happening, though, let the other parts, because it's a branch, right? It's a tree. If the music is going through these doors, then all these other people that want to adapt to it, please do your due diligence. It's just that simple. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you. So with the music breaking through these different doors, whose responsibility do you think it is to pull up the other players?
That's a very tough question. I'm going to answer it personally because personally, I do believe the work is mine. I have to shape my future. I have to shape the doors that I want to break through. And it is for me to really put myself out there, do the work. However, if, for instance, this is still personal, I have worked with someone that have broken into that door. Why haven't you given me that same leverage?
Okay.
I've worked for you.
Okay.
Or I work with you.
Yeah.
Pull me in. Is literally just on a professional,
Like an exchange, kind of.
professionally, you've worked with me. So is it my work you're not fond of? What is it? Do you get? That's personal. That's where I start to question those things. However, I do believe this is where I get real. we live in a world where it's kind of everybody for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand when people talk about there is no community.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I shared with you that Afrodance made a noise in New York City because there was a market. There's somewhere you could go and get Afrodance, which was the studios that we all used to teach at.
Yeah.
Now that everyone is just into their own little bubble, it's making it harder for New York to still have that same experience. Yes, it does become trendy, but trends elevate what we know today. For example, there was a moment where everybody was going to Harlem to get braids. Harlem became that place you go, you get your braids. Everybody was on their Zoom. You know, you have to be really good at doing hair. Now I'm noticing, even though Harlem is still not trending anymore, you go all over Brooklyn and every hair braider has like a luxury shop. It changed the air.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a thing of everybody for themselves. I understand reality. It's kind of hard to
put the responsibility on one person per se.
You know,
Okay.
it's really hard. For example, we have the big threes, right? That are doing great. Some of them do use dancers, some of them don't. Do we really sit here and just say, oh, you, the one that use dancers, you have to be able to book all of us? It's kinda, you know what I mean?
That's unfair.
That's really unfair.
So like, I think one thing we also need to do is expand what a choreographer or a dancer's brand can do in the industry. Because why didn't you say maybe a fashion house from Nigeria or Africa can hire me? Or why didn't you say maybe a movie director should hire me as a movement director or as a choreographer for a film, or a director should hire me for a commercial? The first thing we always go to is the artist. So I think, again, like you said, we were a trend. What lasts is what is able to evolve. So maybe we need to start discussing what it's like to actually evolve from a trend into an actual career. And I think now our careers are actually beginning. We were creating a wave, but also riding off of our efforts. But then now is going to be the differentiator between, were you a trend or have you actually built a career? So
I do feel like the responsibility does fall on some of us that have been in the game longer.
Okay.
You know?
Ooh.
I'm happy you're happy. Let's talk about it. You know? It falls on us. If I am paving my way, I have to kind of mentor.
Okay.
Then you look around and you look at yourself. Have we been doing the work? And again, this is why Afrodance school exists. We need to have these conversations.
Yeah.
The newcomers need to have somewhere where they can look, or someone they can look to and get information. You get what I mean? So thank you so much for being here.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, clock it. Clock it. Sorry. So yeah. That's my conflicting emotion. It kind of falls on us to pave the way, right? But then again, does it really fall on me?
Because like, I posted a story once where I was like, oh, I'm curious to now solve the puzzle of basically what a choreographer's brand can, what ownership looks like for a choreographer or dancer in the space. And someone was like, oh, you should open a dance studio. You should train and mentor and blah, 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 blah. I said, you know what? That's a great idea. Let me ask you a question. One, where is this studio located, right? So let's say we say New York. Do you know how expensive New York real estate is? One. Two, let's say we even say Nigeria. If I open a studio in Nigeria, the people that I'm training and mentoring, how much money do they have? Because you have to pay for training and mentoring. When I was part of Palms, I paid for my uniforms. I paid for my trips to competitions. I paid for my competition fee. Like, I paid to dance. So how many people can afford training? And then let's say you can afford training and you become a professional dancer. How many jobs are available to now make your investment worthwhile. So that's why I think that we need to be very creative with creating multiple streams of revenue. So a dancer can wake up today and say, oh, I want to be a backup dancer. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, I want to be an artist choreographer and I want to stick to one or two, three or four artists for the rest of my life. That's fine. Another one can say, I want to just work in film. I want to just work in theater. I want to just work in fashion. In LA, there's some people who attend classes because they love the choreographer and it's just like, yo, I want to be around that energy and that creativity. But there are also classes that are filled because I know if I show out in this class, I can book a tour that can guarantee me a job for 3 months. How many of us can really say that? A few of us, but even the money you get from the tour that you eventually book,
It's not worth
it's
it.
nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And as dancers, our body is literally our working instrument. You can't waste 3 months and put that much strain traveling. Me even just touring. I'm just teaching one class, so touring. The last tour I did, Lord, I said I'm never doing this thing again. Unless I can fly first class to every location, I have to take my time. So now I'm just doing camps. So it's like we need to think about these things. It's like when people are saying, oh, you need to mentor, or you need to do this. What am I mentoring you to eventually do? I can give you information. Like the people who are like, oh, mentor me. But what they mean is tell me what to do. No, like a therapist, when you sit down with a therapist is not going to say like, oh, I think you should wake up in the morning and you should go talk to your father and say this. You'd be like, talk me through this. How were you feeling? Why did you feel that way? What do you think? Okay, then here's my feedback. But a lot of young dancers have no direction. At least from what I've experienced. It's like when I ask you, why did you create this piece? What was the emotion that you created this piece out of? They'd be like, oh, okay, I just wanted it to be dope. I'm like, okay, but like, okay, when you heard the music, what did you see? Or were there images? Were there emotions? Was it smoke? Was it like a dangerous feeling? Oh, it's dangerous? Okay, now like what outfit makes you feel dangerous? Put yourself in that outfit. Oh, okay, Izzy, I want to shoot this choreography on a tennis court. Is a tennis court dangerous? No. Find somewhere that's dangerous, that looks menacing. Is it lighting? Is it location? Is it how it's shot? We need to think about all these things. Expose yourself to creativity, and that's how you create a brand. But I'm blabbling. I'm not.
No, you are not babbling. No, you are talking to them. Somebody's listening.
But yeah, we're all trying.
Yeah.
But it's like they need to also give us grace as well. There was no blueprint. Absolutely no blueprint. We literally just said, hey, let's just book a studio and let's see how many people will show up that will want to learn this thing that I did in my house. Mm-hmm. And then that just started building. And then it's like, okay, now maybe let's travel to another state and see if other people will show up there. Then artists is not like, oh, I'm in New York. I saw your video when you posted on Instagram. So maybe you want to work with me. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We only have like 3 days to put a show together. Let me just call my friends. Let's go and dance on the stage. Let's go to Jamaica Ave and buy like costumes of fabric that would just be tying around. That's literally what we were doing. We're figuring it out.
Did, yeah.
And to say that it's our responsibility to some degree, yes, but then to some degree, if you don't know where you're going, I can only lead you to the water.
I'm just gonna say, all this has to do with budget.
If I had money, I would hire everybody. The ideas are there. There's no money on ground.
It has to do with budget. But do you feel other dance communities have budget? I mean, as Afrodance, again, we are breaking through these doors, but is it still like we haven't made that mark? Mm-hmm. We haven't. Mm-hmm. We're not hip hop. We can't go and come back. You either take it right now or don't take it. You get what I'm saying, right? If if all these artists decide to just like take a break, they cannot come back.
Oh, the
Like,
artist. Okay.
I'm thinking, I
Yeah.
mean, culturally,
Yeah.
socially,
Yeah.
the artists do the work for us.
Yeah.
If they decide to stop just for a little bit, there's no coming back for them.
Okay.
And I think, what point was I making?
Like
Before I started thinking again.
is like we haven't made our mark.
We haven't made our mark.
So if the budgets, because you're talking about budget, like do you
Boom.
think that this budget issue is also a problem in other industries?
Because other industries have a mark. You can go and come back to that same culture and it is still happening. In the diaspora, let's say all of these movements that we're making right now decide to just, business is not functioning anymore. It would be hard to come back.
Facts. I understand that, but I also think that me personally, like I don't think I live life, and this is more of a personal answer. Like I don't think I live life feeling like my destiny is tied to someone else's. So for a very long time when I started out, I used to say that I would do good if Wizkid continues doing good. Because for me, it was like Wizkid was the pinnacle of like music. So the more barriers he broke, the more opportunity I saw that I could exploit, with him or without him. That's what. But I think now, especially with like especially with social media, I think that power, we've kind of taken it back just a tad bit. Maybe I won't say we're not able to, but like it may be easier to earn more if you had music as your product compared to dance. But I also really do believe that dance is a very marketable and profitable product. It's just that we're going to have to be creative in solving that puzzle. And we may not even be alive to reap the rewards of like what it is we will lay ground to. But I think obviously in the commercial market, there's some people we could, in the American market here, hip hop, right? There's some people we could talk to and be like, yo, the budget is trash. But if you give that same budget to someone on the continent,
Luxury.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe it's a thing where our impact is more so served if we go back to the continent. I think that sometimes maybe let's just break whatever constraints that we're putting around ourselves. Like, oh, if an artist doesn't do good, then maybe we won't be good. Oh, God forbid. Because today now, Wizkid as Wizkid going on tour? No. If Wizkid wants to chill and is like, yo, I just want to build my family, you know, and he has things going on in his life, does not now mean that my career would not continue. Like, you know, there are new people being born every day. If today I want to go work with an artist, I want that option to be there. If I want to go work as Izzy, as the brand, I want that option to be there. If I want to go collaborate with a fashion house, I want that option to be there. But in order for us to do that, we need to insert ourselves in these different places.
If someone is entering this space, what do you hope they understand from the start?
Well, I hope they understand that it's not going to be easy work. Like, this is one of the most unstable careers that you can choose. I would say one thing I wish hindsight 2020. I wish I could have told myself before is to understand art is selfish, but don't quit your day job. One. Or even if you quit the day job, don't stop yourself from exploring the other disciplinary art forms that you want. So for example, if I want to be a creative director, I want to pursue that as strongly as I am pursuing being a dancer as well. If I want to be a director, pursue that as strongly. Utilize all the skills that you have at the same time, so that some days, maybe when dance is not doing so great, you have
A plan B.
A plan B, C, D, even if it's within still like the performing arts or artistic expression. Explore multiple things at once, instead of just being like, oh, I'm just gonna wait and I'm just gonna put all my eggs into one basket, which is beautiful if it works. but you might not be the exception to the rule. So it's best to just explore as much as you can. And then if you can keep your job and also explore it, then do it. I was one of the people I was like, if that.
So then, to wrap it up, we do want to know, what do you want to represent in this space? What stamp would you like to leave?
Or, yeah, I would say for right now, I think the stamp that I'm aiming towards and kind of have started building is more so expanding where African movements can live aesthetically. I think I'm someone who conceptualizes a lot. Like a lot of my pieces are built within like certain worlds and concepts and symbols. So I think that that's what I would be known for. And hopefully 10, 50 years from now, I would have taken that to the highest level. How I'm very intentional with where I put African movements aesthetically.
I love that.
Thank you.
It's easy for an African creative to feel like it's important for us to still channel the traditions, the culture, the prints, you know what I mean? So to be able to expand outside of that and showcase the world like, hey, you know, you can use these movements in this to make it look like this. Really looking forward to seeing more.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
You got this.